Hi, I'm Holly Klein with Willamette Education Service District, and I am going to show you a few tips on setting up a learning environment in your home. I'm going to give you a variety of ideas and strategies, and I want you to use what's going to work for your child and your family. The first step is finding a consistent spot to learn. I recognize that the kitchen table may be your spot, or you may be carving out a little nook somewhere else, just as long as it is consistent and establishes that this is time to learn and time to do your schoolwork. So having that table or that work area defines for kids that it's time to do your schoolwork. When they're younger, you're going to need more physical boundaries. Here in this picture, you can see they've used a shelf on both sides to kind of define that space for the child. Her work is stored over here on the left, and then this is her work area here. For older students, this area can be defined with a work mat, as you see here on the left, or by using tape to define that area, or even just the actual table itself, the desk, will define this is where we work. So you may have space in your home where you can set up a more permanent spot for your student to do their schoolwork, or you may need a portable option. So here's some ideas for permanent desk. This one here, actually these two over here, they've utilized shelves to make a desk for their child. So it's not only is it a desk, it's also a storage system. You might have a breakfast bar that you can allow your kids to have their work materials up at. Over here, you can see they've used these cubbies to make a base for a standing desk. So those are just some ideas for permanent desks if you don't have an actual desk for your student. And then a lot of us are going to have to have portable situations, because you might be using your kitchen table or a coffee table or something that you're going to be needing later in the day. So you want to make sure that their work area is portable so you can put it away and then use it for its other intended purpose. So one of these ideas is just a simple, these are things that were retrieved from the dollar store, and it's just like one of those shower caddies, and put all your supplies in there, and then it can be brought to the table and brought back, put away when they're done. Another idea is using the trifold presentation boards. You can hang, there's a variety of ideas you can do to have materials organized on this. And what's nice about the trifolds, I'm going to see if I can show you here, is when you're done, you can just fold it up and put it away. So this could be on the kitchen table, and then when they're doing their work and they have all their materials there. On mine, I have a calendar here. I have some slip covers to put in some organizational things. Over here, I have a nice little reminder of group expectations. I have a little hook here, see if we can see it here, with a ring of directional cues. I have a let's see, a little pouch with materials in it. I have my clock, and over here, I've just attached it with our headphones, and I've attached it with one of those picnic table clips to keep your tablecloth on the picnic table. And that's worked really well. So I'll show you some other ideas to do with those trifolds, but those are great. Okay, another idea is using a cart to put all the supplies that you need for your child. And again, that can be brought over to the kitchen table, to the breakfast bar, or wherever your portable station is to work. All right, another important factor is to minimize distractions. So if you can find a location that is not near the TV, not near toys or any other enticing items, that's the best. Kids really cannot multitask. So sitting in front of the TV or having the TV going while they're trying to do their studies is really it asks a lot of kids to try and do their schoolwork and focus and not be distracted by that TV. If you don't have the option of having an area where they are away from those distractions, you can hide them with a curtain or a sheet. Very simple. Your child's desk should be positioned away from distractions so that they are not drifting off and watching another fun activity going on in the house. So this one is faced towards the wall. Here, they didn't have that option, so they used one of the trifold presentation boards to block out distractions. Hopefully you can find a spot in your home where it's not a high traffic area. I know this can be challenging, especially if you have lots of kids. But if you can find somewhere where there aren't multiple interruptions, that's helpful. One thing that is really helpful for kids to help them focus, even if you can't find a quiet area for them, is headphones. This helps them not only focus on the work they're doing, but if they are engaged in online learning, it also helps to have them focus. I use this all the time when I'm listening to webinars or something like that. If I want to really focus, I put those headphones on, and then it tunes out all the other outside noises. The next thing you want to do is to declutter your student's workspace. So you want to remove any unnecessary distractions if possible, and have materials organized and within reach. That can be on the desk, like this example, or you can do something like one of those over-the-door shoe organizers. Makes a great, very clear organization for school supplies. Here's some other helpful tools. This is one of the trifolds that Amy Layton made over at MES. And I love this because it's got regulation tools on it. So some calming strategies and schedule, and I need help. Timers are very helpful. We'll show you in the next training series some cool things to do with the clock, and having the schedule posted for your child. And again, the next training is going to be on schedule, so we'll go into that in more detail. Another helpful hint is putting away or limiting access to electronics during learning time. For younger kids, you may need to physically put these things away. Take all game remote controls, maybe even TV remote controls and phones and everything, and put them away during learning time. It's just too much of a draw for kids. You can set up schedules that show when they get those electronics, first then. So first we do our work and then you get your iPad. For older students, you may need to set a schedule again for when they can have their electronics or their games. There are apps to assist with this. And so it depends on whether or not you have, if you have an Apple product or an Android product or whatever, you can research and find a good time setting app that limits when they can be on their phones. If you've got a more cooperative teen, you might be able to take and set that phone aside while they're doing their learning. Another great strategy for Apple products is guided access. So if you're needing your student to stay in a particular app and not get distracted by other apps that they might be more enticed by, guided access allows you to lock them into the app that you need them to be working on. So that's a great tool for having a little bit of parental control. Okay, so we're going to look at some seating options. In schools, you'll see a lot of these alternative seating. I know I have needed in this distance learning some options because I'm doing a lot more sitting than I do when we're face-to-face learning. So, I actually, as I was making this presentation, I was like, oh, I need to do these things. So if you have an exercise ball at home, that's a great alternative seating option for your student. It gives them a little bit of wiggle room, helps them work on their core. One thing that you need to be aware of is making sure that you have a 90-degree angle here and a 90-degree angle here. That's for any seating option for students. One thing with exercise balls is they can kind of go all over the place. So pool noodle is a great way to make a base for it so it's not rolling all over the place. Using a Frisbee where you put the Frisbee upside down and then the ball sits here and that keeps it stationary as well. So those are a couple of easy ideas and things that you may very well have at home. I found a lot of the things that I was putting together. I just looked around the house and started gathering materials, whatever I have, and repurposing. That's the big thing now. Another seating option that we have in school it's called a wiggle seat. And that's another one that gives your student a little bit of movement that they might need. They aren't very expensive. You could probably get one for $16. But if you don't want to buy a wiggle seat, you can make one out of a half inflated beach ball, which you could probably get at the Dollar Tree. And I actually went through the garage and I found this inflatable cushion that I think was like a headrest or something to a floaty or something, but I'm like, oh, this is going to be my wiggle seat. I was amazed at the things I found around the house that would work. So here are some thoughts about seating. So whether you're using a grown-up chair, a child's chair, anything, these are some things to consider. So it's important that your students' feet are, if they can't reach the ground, that you're using either a stool or a box. So again, you can see here the 90-degree and 90 degrees here. So that's a good posture for your student to learn. If it's an adult chair, if you see how he's leaning back here, they've put a pillow behind his back so that he is sitting upright. If you are using child-size chairs over here, you can see that his neck is going down towards a screen. And this is true for if you're on a tablet or anything, that it should be at eye level, so that your neck is not craning down like this child's is. So they just put a little box underneath the computer to bring it up to eye level so that he has good posture. Some other things, other seating options that are totally fine. One is laying on the floor on your child's belly. That's a great way to get out of that constant flexion that we are in. And so you may have a child who likes to kind of sprawl out like that, and that's totally fine. Here's another thing that is great for kids' core, and they just may need a little bit of variety throughout the day because there's a lot more sitting that we're doing, it seems like, with the distance learning. All right, so one of the strategies that we use with students with autism, and your child doesn't have to have autism to benefit from any of these strategies, but we always organize things left to right or top to bottom. And so when kids are younger, we physically have their work in here. You can see the schedule. Take the first box here, number 1, do the work at the table, and then the finished product goes into the basket at the right. And again, you're going to see that with the younger kids, they need that physical definition of what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to be. As they get older, it can be a little bit more abstract, but we still have that same kind of organization where your schoolwork can be in folders and the work to do is on the left-hand side and finished work goes in the right. Then they can be further organized by day. You can color code by day or you can color code by subject, whatever works for your student's brain and for your family again. All right, so I realize that a lot of you out there probably have multiple children and you're trying to juggle all of this. So here's some tips for managing multiple kids, because not everybody is going to be sitting nicely at the table doing their work like this. We hope they will, but some of them need a little bit more support. So one of the ideas, very inexpensive, taking 2 file folders and taping them together, and it makes a little study carrel. Super inexpensive. Most people have file folders in their home. Again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can use cardboard to separate them. These, I think, were felt boards from the dollar store, anything like that, to make a distraction blocker for your kids so they can focus. And then again, trying to find space for multiple children who are learning and give them all their own space. Here's just some clever ideas that are out there. This is like an entryway table that was turned into a workspace. And here's a closet that was turned into 2 different workspaces for kids. And everything's organized up top, which is very if you have room in your closet, that's a great thing. Here was a crib that was repurposed as then a workstation, and they turned this into a table here. And I thought that was very clever because I like reusing things. All right, some tips for juggling it all with multiple students. And you can take these tips even if you don't have multiple students because it's still going to be a juggle. So keeping a master calendar with important dates, when assignments are due, when your student has live class sessions, IEP dates, that kind of thing. You might consider color coding by your child. Each child gets a different color, and then you can use these flags in your calendar. So it just will pop out at you to see, who's got something coming up. But that might help to keep it all straight. And on here, I like the suggestions on here. They've used some transparent tabs for some overlapping, so you can still see what's underneath on the other one. The tabs can be removed if something changes. They've used this, they folded this page over and put items on the other side that parents need, like, their shopping list or, their menu for the week or what have you. It's incredibly helpful to have a consistent routine and build in those breaks and exercise time for your student. Building that consistent routine is going to be critical. You may be met with some resistance at first, but once you guys get into the groove, it'll all settle down. And that routine is just, I can't emphasize it enough. It's just highly needed by children. You can stagger your children's schedule. So if you have one child who needs a little more help, you might engage your other child in a break when they can be more independent, or maybe exercise or something like that, while you are helping the one child that needs help. And then you can flip it around and help the child who had been in break while the first child takes a break. And that's where it's going to help to have this kind of organized for yourself, so that you know when your children are needing more help and the others can be more independent. The other thing you can do is enlist the help of older siblings. So they can certainly help with their younger siblings, even if it's just reading them a book or anything like that. Definitely use all the help you can get. All right, I had one more thing I wanted to show you. Whoops. As just an idea of something you can do. But this was everything I put on here I found at home. So I didn't go out and get anything new for this. This is a cookie sheet. So it is magnetic. So I have a timer here. I put a little dry erase marker here. I can write on here for any notes I might need. I have a magnetic case here for scissors. And then I had this nice little Monday through Friday to do notepad. So just thinking in terms of that, you can put a little clip on there or anything like that. We have a lot of things that you can do with magnets. On the big board, I like to attach it with Velcro just because it allows it to be more flexible. I can take things off and rearrange and that kind of thing. So guess what, guys? You have homework. So the first thing that you're going to do following this video is think about where in your home that you can establish a workspace for your child. The next thing you're going to do is clear the clutter and organize school supplies and materials. And we're going to start there, and we're just going to layer in a little bit more each time. And you guys, we're going to make it. We're going to do it. It's going to be good. You've got this. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.